Okay, so we've installed Git Bash. Now it's time to take a look at it. So go to your Windows Start menu, and you can't see this because it's off the side of the screen here on my other monitor. But in the search bar at the bottom of your Start menu, just type in Git, G-I-T, and you'll see this Git Bash thing. So go ahead and click it. And let's drag this on over. And this is it. It's just a cool little Bash terminal that allows us to run Linux and Mac type commands from a Windows terminal. So very, very cool. Now, we're going to be using this a lot to run our Python and Django commands, but also for version control, Git. And we're going to push our Git repository up to Heroku. And you can also push your Git repository to GitHub if you like. I might show you how to do that towards the end of the course, just if you're interested. But very cool. But the first thing we need to do is we need to create an SSH key. And an SSH key is, it's just a public-private key pair, and that allows us to connect to other parties like Heroku, like GitHub, etc. So very important. So you can see I typed in the pwd to show the directory, and we're in the C users flat planet. Now, flat planet is just the name of my computer because I think it's hilarious that some people think the world is still flat, but that's another story. So yours will be whatever your computer is called. Maybe it's your name, whatever it is, doesn't really matter. But in this directory, this users/whatever directory, we need to create a new directory. So mkdir is the command, and that's the same on Mac or Linux. And then .ssh. The dot makes this a hidden directory, so it won't show up unless we type a special command or whatever. That's just the convention for SSH keys. So now we need to change into that directory. So cd, change directory, and then .ssh. Now, if we do pwd, we can see, yes, in fact, we are in this directory. Now we need to create an SSH key. Now, this used to be really hard, especially on a Windows computer, but this little Bash terminal has a key generator built into it, so it's really cool. All we have to do is type in ssh-keygen.exe, and it's going to ask you where you want to save it. We want to save it right here in this directory, so we could just hit enter. Now it's going to ask you for a password. Now, I don't think you need to type a password, but for instance, if you use GitHub later on, they'll ask you for this password. If you haven't typed in a password, I think you could just hit enter and go past that part. But I like to put a password anyway, so I'll go ahead and type in a password. Notice it doesn't show up on the screen when I type it. It'll ask you to type it again. Remember this password because you're going to need it in the future anytime you want to sort of do things with this. So it's created this thing. So if I clear the screen really quickly and then type ls to list everything in this directory, you see there's these two files. And we can type in cat id_rsa.pub, and it'll catalog this out to the screen. And this is our SSH key. Very cool. So yeah, so if you want to push your code to GitHub in the future, you'll need to copy and paste this key up to GitHub. And there's a little section in settings where you can put in your SSH keys. Heroku needs this key as well, but we don't need to copy and paste it to Heroku. There's a command we can just type in, and Heroku will go search it out and find it themselves, so we don't have to deal with it. So that's Git Bash. This is the SSH key. And I think that's all for this video. In the next video, we're going to go ahead and download the Heroku Toolbelt. It's a program we're going to need to connect to Heroku later on. And so that'll be in the next video.